Welcome everyone. Got David here. We're going to take a look at the 2024 Monster Manual, which is out for pre-orders on D&D Beyond. So we're just going to take a look through it, and you guys can chime in with any comments you have, any things you want to see specifically, any things you found that are odd in the Monster Manual, or anything that you see that's like, hey, that's really cool in the Monster Manual. And David, what's your first impression?
Well, as I'm browsing through it, and I've only touched a few of the monsters, I've been impressed with how many of them just have little tweaks that feel like they'd make them more fun in play or more flavorful in play. So in that respect, I'm pretty impressed. I mean, obviously there's things that we'll talk about that are a little bit odd, maybe.
Right.
But generally, I think that they've touched just about every monster in the book, in the game.
Let's start out with one that you always find, and I do too. Like it's just not hitting very hard, or it's kind of random how hard it hits. Let's look at the Beholder.
Oh, good
So I'm going to
pick.
grab the 2014 Beholder here on the right, and I'm going to look at the 2024 Beholder on the left. You'll notice this is the index of stat blocks here on the left, and they are in alphabetical order for most of them, which as soon as I started using it, I hated it. I was looking for like, okay, I want to find all the demons, and then I had to remember, okay, what's the type 3 demon named? And I couldn't remember. It was Glabrezu for a little bit, and so it took me a little bit to go find the type 3 demon, the Glabrezu, and that's only because I have extensive, I've been playing forever, that I knew that was the thing. So then you can look monsters by creature type. So if you're trying to find demons, devils, fiends, etc., you can go to monsters by creature type, and they have those gathered together here for you. There's fiends here. But yeah, like you have to know a Marilith is a demon, or a Mesoloth is a Yugoloth, or a Spirit Neg is not any of those things. So that's something I don't like.
The
But
ordering in this is almost perverse in the way they did it.
yeah,
Because you'll notice that all the giant animals and giant insects, they're all under G for giant.
yeah,
Okay, I would generally look for under S for giant spiders, but no, that's not it.
yeah,
Giants are all split up. So there's cloud giants and under C and fire giants under F. But mephits, which seem like they would have a similar categorization, are all under mephits.
right.
Demons and devils all split up. So you got to know the names to find them.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
not even consistent
No.
in the change they made.
It felt like someone had an idea, like they were running an adventure, and they said, hey, I can't find this monster under ochre jelly or whatever. I wish everything was, organized that way. But then if you come from the other direction of the DM trying to like populate a dungeon or look for similar creatures to put into your dungeon or things like that, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, the old way of putting gelatinous cube under ooze was also pretty
Yes.
counterintuitive.
Yeah.
You had a story about your first encounter with the original Monster Manual that I found pretty interesting and amusing. So
Yeah.
I want you to share that.
9 years old, pick up D&D, the Holmes box, I think it was, and I paging through it, looking through the Monster Manual, trying to find Dracula. No Dracula. Didn't like that. Tried to find Frankenstein. No Frankenstein. Didn't like that. So, that was a bad first taste for D&D for me. But it's just funny how we all come at it differently.
I had a similar experience as you with werewolf. Where's werewolf? It's under L for lycanthrope. Wow. Not what I anticipated at any age.
Okay, we were going to look at Beholder. Okay, here's the Beholder for the new one, and then the old one here. So, same armor class. Initiative got way better. Went from a +2 to a +12. So it's going to have the, get to act early. I don't know what the cutoff was for when they decided to give them effectively expertise in initiative. If there's a certain CR where that happens and above for solo type creatures, but a lot of them have it. And then a lot of the mid-level creatures have like proficiency in initiative. Andrew's here. Hey, Andrew. Andrew says, the moment of truth, can you still defeat a beholder with the fog cloud spell? Well, you can. Take a look. So the new beholder, eye rays, randomly shoots one of the following magical eye rays. At a target it can see. So as long as you can blind the beholder, you're safe. That's the new beholder on the left I'm looking at there. The anti-magic cone became a bonus action from it was just kind of a feature before. It has legendary actions in addition to its eye ray. It has chomping. Its bite kind of does the same damage as it did before. 14 versus 13, very similar. One nice thing it gave them was a lot more speed. So it can move at 5 feet even on the ground, but it can move at 40 feet flying. The old beholder was a fly speed of 20 feet.
Ooh,
and that could really put it at a disadvantage if you had a big dungeon and a party that, was good at maneuvering.
I like that the anti-magic cone clarifies that it works against the beholder's own eye rays.
It does, yep.
Yep.
All the legendary actions in the world, 3 or 4 in the lair. It never had legendary resistance before, so it was, a kind of a paper tiger before. You could take it down with something like a stun or something like that, and now it's got legendary resistance 3 or 4 times a day. Ab Halsey says, when you suggest on Twitter on what to focus on through the monster, I said titties. I hope you took that into consideration. I don't think there are any. We could pull up the first edition Monster Manual where we could find plenty. You'll be disappointed with the Marilith. The titties are definitely gone there. We'll look at that in a little bit. Andrew, with anti-magic and legendary chomps, it should be easier to at least break concentration on Fog Cloud. Already better. Yeah, you can definitely, hit the Fog Cloud person if they don't duck behind cover. All right, so that is the beholder. And then what else do we want to look at? Let's look at the, of course, the elephant in the room is that all of the humanoids are now like a type of thing. Instead of a humanoid creature, let me just go to that stat block here, monster entries. So if you're an elf, if you're a human, if you're a dwarf, you're getting your profession shown, like a mage or a pirate or a warrior, on which you can stack onto that, your species. And they didn't put any kind of like species differentiation anywhere that I've found or anyone else has found that I know of. And so that's something ripe for someone to create something like that. And then they made orcs. So orcs kind of took the path of World of Warcraft orcs. They're now like a player character class versus Lord of the Rings, Tolkien, where they were just an enemy that you'd fight. And so they're gone from the Monster Manual. Not a big loss there. I didn't use a lot of orcs. You can easily replace an orc. But then drow are gone too. And drow, they had so many cool things with drow monsters. So that's a good place for an independent person to kind of make their own set of drow monsters to put back out for this version. I was disappointed with drow much more than I was with the orcs, I think. How about you, David? Anything that you missed?
Distinctive the flavor of a humanoid, the more you're going to miss having those distinctive touches. I mean,
yeah.
Let's back up. There's been a lot of adventures that they've printed, and they've had, Dewey the dwarf, who is, say, a veteran, and he's got dark vision. That's fine as a way to present NPCs, and if they're going for NPCs, of all the humanoid races that you can have as a player character, I guess that's fine. But you in cases like drow, where traditionally they've leaned heavily on things like fairy fire and levitation, you're definitely losing a lot of that distinctive character of fighting them as enemies when they just become a bunch of veterans and gladiators and whatnot.
Yeah. So that's what I miss the most. Then the other weird part about this thing is like everything that was a humanoid became something else if it wasn't also in the player's handbook. So things like Aarakocra, lizard men, Kenku, you know, everything became something different, which really feels like not being an adult about things. You know, it's like, yes, sometimes we kill humanoids. Sometimes humanoids are evil. You don't have to make them into not a humanoid for us to feel safe to fight them. But they did give other reasons for doing that. And one kind of made a little sense where they talked about we were getting so many versions of like the jackal person or the hyena person. And it kind of felt like, how many variations of the same humanoid variation are there? Why don't we differentiate these a little bit more? Which I don't know if that was like a reason that came after the fact, but it's not a terrible reason. So I just kind of felt like that was trying to fix something that didn't need fixed in order to feel better about killing these things, which doesn't seem very adult to me. What do you think, David?
That seems like a pretty good take on it.
Yeah, if you want to be nuanced and have a grown-up game, and it's like, oh, there's some implications about killing all these goblin children. Now you made them all into face, so we don't have to feel bad about it.
I
I don't know about that.
always hated the baby goblin,
Yeah,
baby orc dilemma when
yeah,
that showed up in the early old school adventures. I did not, for my taste, enjoy that sort of game where the paladin's starting to slaughter
yeah,
children and whatnot. But so I'm perfectly fine treating humanoids as blank slates that adapt to their role or job or profession or whatever. But in the trade-off, they're losing some flavor
they are
with
losing some.
distinctive races.
So let's look at
Species.
one of the ones that changed. Sahuagin changed to fiends. So these used to be, humanoids under the water, and they changed to fiends. We know Knowles changed to fiends as well. So everything did change to say the same CR and just get tweaked around otherwise.
Though there is a conversion table in the back that shows how the names of certain things have changed
Right.
when they get more specific.
So that would be under monster conversion. And this is where you point out the loss of flavor for some of these things. The more iconic of an enemy they were, sometimes the more flavor they had, like Drow. And now Drow are gladiators and alkalites and bandits, and the fiendish cultists for Drow priestess of Loth. Unfortunate, but you still have the legacy stuff if you have 2014, if you're fortunate to have that. And of course, someone I think will put out probably a pretty good supplement that has a lot of the detail of those that were lost. Duergar, another one that's just been replaced with generics.
That's disappointing because I love my enlarging Duergar
Yeah.
with their invisibility.
Yeah. So let's say you're a first level or you're starting off as a DM. You're trying to find out, okay, what am I going to populate my adventure with? So you got monsters by creature type. You got monsters by challenge rating. Did the Twig Blight become something else, or is it still there?
I haven't looked.
Twig Blight, yeah, Twig Blight's still there. So the best monster not to feel bad about killing the Twig Blight.
It's my favorite.
Yeah, yeah. Did they have Pack Tactics before? I don't think they did. That's a good
No,
Twig
that
Blight.
seems like a new addition.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Twig Blight. I don't think it was in the
I
monster.
think they were under
before.
blights.
Okay.
Look under B.
There we go.
Yeah, see, there you go. Just obvious where you look,
Need
right?
a blight, Twig Blight. Yeah, they had false appearance. They did 3 damage. Now did they do 4 damage?
We didn't need that damage boost for Twig
We
Blights.
didn't need them to have advantage either with Pack Tactics, right?
No,
Yeah.
that's suddenly they're dangerous all of a
Right.
sudden.
The best part about them was you could throw them at a party and not worry.
Yeah.
And the party could kind of get some experience in how you fight creatures and
Yeah.
what weapon attacks do and what spells do. And as a DM, you're like, they won't hurt themselves. But now they might. Let me catch up with the chat here. Andrew says, fun fact, of all the humanoid stat blocks, a total of 3 have dark vision. I don't even know what stat blocks are humanoid. It'd be the bandits and things like that, right? Would they even give them dark vision?
Maybe
Let me
assassin.
know. Let me know in the chat. Yeah, you would think they would just give them whatever the human stats would be, and then you modify them by any other species to match. So none of them should have dark vision, but that'd be interesting to see which ones do.
Look under assassin for
Assassin. Okay.
Yeah. For me, taking a stab in
the dark
direction. Yeah.
Nope.
Okay.
No dark vision. Avoiding the noise. Yeah. Andrew says, we have been told that orcs are real people with culture and feelings. We agree 100% and have made changes. Now these are hobgoblins. They're basically orcs called something else, so it's okay to kill them.
They're fae.
Exactly. Exactly. Isn't that classically dehumanizing them so that we can kill them? I mean, that's kind of what happened. It's like you're trying to be careful about things, but you just got to face up that this is a game about killing creatures, and there's going to be some moral discussions that might happen.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. That's Andrew. Point your dark bad. Point your dark bad. Twig blight, extra deadly now. Yeah, extra deadly twig blights. That's not good. Okay, now let me just go to vampire, because I ran Curse of Strahd, or Strahd Must Die Tonight late last year, and the party's like using 2024 characters, and they're like, hey, daylight now is the sun. I'm like, oh shit, that's not good for vampires. And I thought, well, maybe they'll change vampires so that daylight, they're not like completely obliterated by being in the sun, but they did not. So if you're running Curse of Strahd, watch out, because there's plenty of character classes that can get multiple uses of the daylight spell, and vampires are going to be terrible in daylight. Of course, I just used the fact that it was in Ravenloft to tone down the daylight spell power, especially since they're one of the main features of that adventure is to find an artifact that can give you daylight, or an artifact that can give you sunlight. And now it's like any cleric can do that. So what do we do to find that artifact? Yeah, they don't regenerate anymore. That's different.
Did they get a healing, not a hit point boost?
Let's pull up the old vampire and take a look. Vampire spawn, vampire. Yeah, 144 all the way up to 195.
Okay.
I don't mind that, because half the time I forget to have my creature regenerate, and then the other half the time they're only going to last 3 rounds anyway.
Yeah.
So if they're regenerating 10 hit points a round for 3 rounds, just give them 30 more hit points.
I guess you might enjoy the lock and key dynamic of the how much stronger radiant damage becomes, but it's probably not worth the trade-off.
Yeah. They're a lot faster. Speed of 40, climb of 40 versus speed of 30. That'll help them a lot. They resist necrotic, but not very many things resist bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing anymore. There's a few, but not many, and vampires aren't one of them. So your regular non-magic weapon will work. And then I do like how they did their strike differently now. So vampires used to have an unarmed strike where they could do damage or grapple, but not both. And so it kind of got like, well, if you want to bite and drain blood, you're not going to do a lot of damage that way. It's going to take a little bit to get to it. You got to grapple them first, then bite them. And now the strike grapples right away. And the damage is a little bit better too. It used to be at 8 points average. Now it's 8 plus 7 necrotic. The grapple's a lot easier to get out of, though. Escape a DC 14 versus escape DC of 18. Which seems odd. I thought it was supposed to be 14 plus their proficiency mod. So it should have been 19, I would think. Like if a fighter grapples someone, isn't it their proficiency bonus plus their strength score, plus 8, right? I think that's what it is. So that'd be 12 plus 5, 17. Actually, not 19. Let's see. Let's catch up on the chat here. Vampire blood drinking McHandsome guy Andrew. Per D&D Beyond Search, the 3 humanoids with dark vision are Aberrant Cultist, Fiend Cultist, and Vampire Familiar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So Vampire Familiar is right here. Dark vision 60 feet. So even if they're human, they gain this.
They're all
They have
sort
dark
of
vision.
supernatural touch humanoids there. That makes sense.
That makes sense. And then, you can tack on if they're a dwarf, they have it all the time, whatever other class they are. And if they're an orc, they might have whatever orcs have in the player's handbook. And if they're a drow, they might have what drow have in the player's handbook. So back to vampire. Another nice thing they did with vampire is they have their charm being a bonus action. Used to take your full action. So you'd have to give up all your attacks just to do a charm. And that's a bonus.
Brutal in the action economy. So
yeah,
I think this is much more playable.
Yeah, and shapeshift is a bonus now, so that's much more playable too. Shapeshift, you have to give up your whole action. Just anything that you had to give up your whole action to do just didn't work in combat.
True.
If the combat was going to be threatening at all.
Right.
And then 3 or 4 legendaries. And that's interesting how they do that. So your XPs go from 10 to 11.5 if you're in your lair. So you get, but your CR stays the same. And I don't know if 10 to 11.5 is one bonus in CR or not. But so that's vampires. Another one that was interesting was the Rakshasa. Let's look at that one. Oh, another thing they did, most of the big, unable to move type creatures, they gave some sort of ranged attack, or unable to fly or whatever. So Iron Golem's got it. We'll look at that in a little bit. Look at Rakshasa.
Yeah, so the classic Tarask vulnerability, because you could just stay out of range and pepper it with ranged attacks.
Yeah.
Gone.
I like this art. That's pretty cool. Let me blow this up a little bit. That Rakshasa art's pretty neat.
And it's got the backwards hands. So
Yep.
I love it.
Yep. Nicely done. Whoever that, I like how they have the artist right here. Andrea Paparo. Nice artwork on that one. Okay, so we come down to Rakshasa. I'd have to go all the way back to the Monster Manual first edition for you had to have a blessed weapon or a blessed crossbow bolt or something like that to do extra damage to them. They kind of have that vulnerability here now too.
I think in the original game it was almost you had to know how to kill it or you couldn't sort of creature.
Yeah. So now it's piercing damage from weapons wielded by creatures under the effect of a blessed spell. So good thing you don't have sharpshooters anymore. Can you imagine? 5th edition 2014 sharpshooter doing double damage versus these things. They went last around. Holy cow, that'd be bad. There isn't a whole lot of creatures that can do it just anywhere near the sharpshooter damage that was before, I don't think, anymore. See, everyone can at least throw a rock. Yeah. Do zombies bite now? It was weird that they only had a slam in 5e. Let's take a look at zombies. Zombies. That's where your beholder zombie's at too. That's really funny. So if you want to find your beholder zombie, don't look under beholder, but do look under zombie. So it's like the reverse. It's not in its alphabetical order. It's in the reverse of alphabetical order.
Do they have zombies of different sizes?
Yeah, they do.
Zombie and whatnot.
They have ogre. Yeah. Nope, just still the slam attack. Let's look at the old zombies. See how that compares. Zombies. Armor class is the same. Speed is the same. Immune to exhaustion now, in addition to poison. Undead fortitude, see if that changed at all. Come on, save 5+ damage and less damage radiant or critical. Same exactly as before. And then the slam is doing. They did 1 more point of damage. That's the change on zombies.
Nearly exactly the same.
Mm-hmm. Had a person die to a beholder zombie. Let's see if I can find. Wish me luck on finding beholder zombies in the player's handbook. I'm gonna look under beholders. See if I'm right. Beholder, Death Tyrant. No. Is it under zombie? Let's look. Zombies. Yeah, it was. Same hit points, and the disintegration ray is 27 versus 45. Wow, they toned down disintegration ray a lot.
Well, that's no fun.
Yeah. Yeah, don't look under clothing, look under apparel. Yeah. It gives zombies by attack against bloody targets, which can then spread the contagion. That's cool. That's a neat idea. And the Blessed Crossbow came from an old TV show, right? What was that? Like
Kolchak, the Night
Kolchak.
Stalker. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I watched that episode. Someone posted it on YouTube. I watched that. They looked at 5e zombies and said, Chef's kiss, this is perfect. Of the 3 zombies, only the beholder bites. Yeah. Okay. Back to, we were going to talk about interesting how not very many creatures have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing damage. Even an iron golem doesn't. So you can hit an iron golem with any weapon. So that's one thing about the iron golem. And then it's got ranged attack, fiery bolt, ranged attack that does 36 fire damage. You can do it twice in a round. 2 attacks, yeah. So you can do 20 slashing plus 10 force. So you can do 30 with his melee attack at plus 12 to hit, or 36 with a fire array at plus 10 to hit. He's got poison breath. We can't use that in any combination with anything else, but it does a ton of damage. Let's look at the old iron golem. Under golem, I think. Golems. Iron. Here we go. Poison breath went up a little bit. Bless you, David. Wow. Went from a 15-foot cone to a 60-foot cone.
Nice.
There's going to be some players caught off guards by some of these monsters. I would not expect a poison breath from a iron golem at 60 feet away from it.
Was Iron Golem immune to certain damage types?
Fire, poison, psychic, immune to conditions of charm, exhaust, frighten, paralyze, petrify. So as long as you're not doing fire or poison or psychic, you're going to be doing full damage on that guy.
Oh, maybe I was thinking of the flesh golem or something along those lines. Clay golem.
Some stuff has a resistance. Clay golem. Let's look at clay golem. Andrew says that's got resistances. Under C for clay golem.
Makes a lot of sense. You just carve right through it.
Yep, resists bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. That's weird. Iron Golem lost it, but Clay Golem retains it.
I think that's a flavorful thing to stick with Clay Golem, and the idea that, you know, it kind of just molds right around your blows. And then it has this berserk ability now that I don't think it used to have. I know that was on the flesh golem, but I didn't think that was on the clay golem.
It did. Yeah, it had berserk.
It did? No, okay.
At 60 hit points or less. Now it's berserk possibly when it's bloodied. Interestingly, they say they can't shapeshift as opposed to they're immutable in form. No spells can alter their form. So shapeshift is in the player's handbook. I think it's any effect, including polymorph, so you can't polymorph them either.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And then hasten is not an action anymore, so that's good. It's a bonus action. I really like that. Overall, universally, they really took a lot of things that you never used because you couldn't afford it in the action economy and made them bonus actions.
Yeah, good change, because
Yeah,
then you
that's
can
definitely
use those flavorful abilities in a fight without suffering a severe disadvantage.
yeah, absolutely. They got more speed too. A lot of things got more speed. That's kind of
It's interesting.
a stealth change that a lot of things that couldn't get you before now could get to you. Let's look at giant. Let's look at kind of look at hill giant, but look at cloud giant first. So giants, cloud. Andrew, let me catch up on the chat here. Some stuff has resistance. This click on. Thanks, Andrew. Okay, cloud giant. Hit points are the same. Armor class is the same. Initiative is they got proficiency bonus on their initiative, so +4 instead of +0. They can fly. They can fly now. Fly 20 and
Okay.
hover. They used to have a fly spell 3 times per day, which, so you would think of him as, oh, that's pretty cool, like flavor, but it didn't happen very often because fly
Yeah.
spell was so susceptible to being knocked down from concentration. And now they're just fly. So, if they're trying to get the flavor of flying, that's a better way to do it for a cloud giant.
Well, speaking of flying, why don't you go to the Nikoloth?
Nikoloth, okay.
Once upon a time, I was doing a level 17 and up adventure called Battle Walker from the Abyss. And one of the encounters in it is essentially everyone fighting in this giant well or pit. And the foes in that encounter are Nikoloths. And I realized a couple of things in that encounter. First of all, in D&D, there are very few foes that you can fight groups of at those sort of high levels, because everything at that high level has a whole slew of extra abilities that make them fiddly and complicated. And you can't just have monsters come and deal damage to your 17th level players without creating a whole bunch of effects for the DM to track. So Nikoloths now lean into that role even better than they used to, because they don't have much going on. They've got a little teleport ability, but mostly they just hit and they can turn invisible. Mm-hmm. Not too complicated. In the old one, they had mirror image, which is super fussy. Kind of a thing that I kept forgetting, and it was a pain to keep track of. But they had one thing that was super fun for me as a sadistic DM in that particular encounter, and that was dispel magic.
Yeah.
Because I could dispel the flying spells and everything that the Nikoloth's foes, that the players were using to fight in this aerial battlefield, and cause people to fall or cause crises and all kinds of fun stuff for me.
Right.
And now they're missing that dispel magic, so that is a disappointing blow to me. But they do fit that role of a high level appropriate creature that can fight in groups without being overly complicated.
They got rid of this, kind of fussy claw attack. Anything that kind of did a little extra damage if you weren't healed never really felt like much of a payoff when it actually happened in the battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was always kind of fussy, so I don't miss that. Their weapons used to be magical, and so to replicate that, they do the same slashing damage, but also 10 force damage. So they can even affect things like golems. There's so few things that need magic weapons, though. It's kind of odd. Andrew has 0 instances of resistance to BPS from non-magic. Yeah, it's just straight BPS if they have that resistance. It's a shame that on maps, it's hard to tell if a monster is 2014 or 2024. Oh, that's a good point. I don't use maps. I use Roll20, so I haven't noticed that. They fly now? Yeah, you're talking about the cloud giant? Yeah. Right. Okay.
All right. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. About the only time that these resistance where it makes a difference that creatures' attacks are count as magical in practical battles versus players is when somebody's using stone skin. I think that gives you resistance or immunity to non-magical attacks.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that makes it's probably not so bad to make that spell a little bit more worth its 4th level slot for your wizard.
Let's take a look at big hitting demon, the Nalfeshnee type 4 demon. So let's look at the old Nalfeshnee under demon. Demon types. Nalfeshnee. All right. Armor class the same, hit points the same, kind of slow, can fly, all the same. He's in the mid-tier initiative where he's got proficiency bonus to initiative, so his +5 proficiency bonus going to his initiative. And he's a CR 13, no legendary resistance. So it's kind of like almost like an elite class and then a solo class of having that initiative modifier. Multi-attack, 3 rend attacks versus bite and claws, doing 15 damage with his claws and 32 with his bite. So that's kind of a flavorful thing you lost. I remember the Nalfeshnee having just a horrendous bite attack. And now you just ran 3 times for 16 plus 11 force. So every attack's doing 27 versus the big bite of 32 and then 15 for the others. So you're going to end up doing the same damage, if not more. Teleporting is a full action, so you won't see a lot of that happening, except for maybe outside of combat or to get away. Bonus action is Sword Imp is a bonus. That's good. It used to be a full action before. Pursuit, another creature that you can see ends its turn within 120 feet of him. He can use teleport. Oh, there we go.
There's your teleport.
Way to use teleport without using your action. Wonder how many other creatures have that. It'd be interesting to see if that's kind of a widespread thing.
I'll bet you that's kind of a signature ability for them.
Yeah, it seems pretty strong. All right, then let's see what else we got.
Go
ahead, David.
Medusa.
Oh yeah. All the animals or creatures that got a male and a female version. I wasn't offended by that. I don't care if you had more versions of monsters. I know a lot of people were put off by that. I don't know why.
I think, that's just stop yelling at clouds.
Yeah. Okay. I could see the problems with the orcs and drow going away, though.
Yeah.
Because that certainly was something we lost. All the cool drow. Medusa.
All right. Well, the thing that drew my attention here is that the gaze attacks, and this is the same for basilisks, work differently than they used to. In the past, you had to look at the creature to get targeted by the gaze attack. And now, am I overlooking something? Now you don't have to look. The Medusa just looks at you and can potentially turn you to stone. I like that change because it used to be that all those gaze attack creatures kind of set up an unfun combat encounter where everybody's looking at the floor and attacking at disadvantage and basically immune to the gaze. It wasn't that much fun.
Yeah, so, everyone would divert their gaze, which would make the monster tougher in combat for you.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't have the petrifying.
Right.
So you're right. Yeah. So now it's a DC 13 con save. Each creature a 30-foot cone. If the Medusa sees its reflection in the cone, it's got to make the save too. So you still have that cool thing. Where
so mirrors are suddenly good again. I don't think they were good before. I don't think you could stone a Medusa with a mirror. Could you?
Let's see. When a creature that can see the Medusa's eyes starts its turn. Well, a Medusa is a creature that could see its eyes if it sees its reflection.
Oh yeah, I guess it's hidden in there. That makes sense.
Yeah.
The other thing that you couldn't really do with Medusa's before or after is sort of set up the iconic scene where, in fiction or myth, where somebody happens to glance in the direction of Medusa by accident, just because they're looking, as people do, and get turned to stone and have that surprised look on their face of the statue.
Right.
There was really no way for something with a gaze petrification ability to surprise somebody and turn them to stone. I remember we had a DM once at a convention who kind of set up a quasi-surprise house rule for his table at the convention that enabled that dynamic, but the rules certainly didn't make that possible.
Okay, rule bender Andrew. So Medusa's doesn't have to see the creature in the cone, so can the Medusa avert its gaze when using that, or just do it with its eyes closed? Yeah. So you were saying that before they couldn't surprise you and turn you to stone. I think they could, right? I mean, that's how it worked before. Unless you were surprised, you could avert your eyes. If you were surprised, you couldn't avert your eyes.
Yeah. If you were surprised, yeah. As a game rule.
You were just talking about.
But as a sort of a fictional experience where you're opening the door in the dungeon and look into the room and see what's in there, and there's a Medusa, and zap, you're turned to stone because you caught its eye, as one would.
So this one's got restrained first and petrified after, just like it used to do. So you have 2 chances to not be turned to stone.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think that's changed.
All right. And then the Medusa, they don't really talk about the fact that they're male and female, do they? Okay. I wanted to look at ghouls, because this is something this FNDM saw that was interesting. Ghasts, ghouls. Ghouls. Here we go. Okay, so its multi-attack is 2 bite attacks. It did not used to have a multi-attack. Its claw attack, if they fail their save, they're paralyzed until the end of their next turn, the target's next turn. So that means if you paralyze them with a claw, you can't bite them while they're paralyzed. And that was like the main scary thing about the ghoul, as far as I thought. So the old ghoul, it claw attack, the target creature, blah, blah, blah. They're paralyzed for a minute, can repeat the save at the end of their turns. So they got rid of that, how strong that was. Instead of getting to repeat it, you just automatically save at the end of your turn.
That's a lot weaker.
Yeah. Then the bite damage used to be 9. Now you're doing 5 and 3. You're doing 8 bite damage, but you attack twice around, which is effectively doing the same thing that the auto advantage would have given you if they were paralyzed. Although paralyzed gave you an advantage and an auto crit if you hit. Still, you only got 1 bite, so you could have only done double the damage for the bite. Now you're getting 2 bites, so it's like you're doing the same damage, but they just kind of nerfed what made ghouls cool. I don't know what they were thinking. Maybe if that multi-attack was 1 claw and 1 bite, you'd still have that feeling of being scared of a ghoul paralyzing you.
Yeah.
That's what I think, anyway.
Scroll up to Gargoyle.
This was a monster that you couldn't hit with non-magic weapons, right? Or at least resisted them.
It lost its resistance.
Yep.
It gained 1 or 2 hit points damage. Gargoyles used to be just a very frustrating creature because they were, for characters of the levels that were appropriate to fighting gargoyles, they had a hard time damaging them.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the gargoyles did almost insignificant amounts of damage.
Yeah.
Now they've lost their resistance, so you can hit them and damage them. They do barely significant points of damage. Here's a DM tip. If you want to make gargoyles terrifying, use that fly speed and that strength of 15 to swoop down, grapple the characters, fly them up in the air, and drop them.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, still not a particularly fun creature to fight.
You know what else there misses? Their false appearance. I'm not seeing false appearance anywhere here.
Oh yeah, they lost that too.
Yeah.
That's that seems like a downgrade to make them a less interesting than they used to be.
Right. All right, chat. We got to do a poll in chat here. What is, or maybe Andrew can help us with this too. Let's see if I can do a poll. How do I do polls? Oh, I can't do it there. I have to do it in YouTube. Legendary resistance versus multiple reactions. Is there any creature with multiple reactions left? That was kind of a stage that designers were going through in Monsters of the Multiverse and Planescape, I think, where they were like toying with multiple reactions instead of legendaries. And I think there was a dragon that had multiple reactions. Let's look at Green Dragon. See if it still has it, or if that maybe got changed last minute. Awesome artwork here with the Green Dragon. Nope, legendaries. I'm pretty sure in the preview we saw that was. Oh, I got the preview. Let me grab the preview. That would have been in the manual. Dragon. All right. Here's the preview Green Dragon. Yep. Yeah, they changed it. The dragon can take up to 3 reactions per round, but only 1 per turn was the preview Ancient Green Dragon. And the released Ancient Green Dragon is legendary actions. So it seems like legendary actions won that war.
Yeah. So some things that they experimented with that they opted not to change after seeing some creatures with a different approach.
Mm-hmm.
One is that reaction thing, switching back to legendary actions.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, wow, I just lost my train of thought. It'll come to me. We carry on.
Other things that they changed. Here's another thing. It looks like they kind of went to the double proficiency on initiative late in the design cycle. Hit points never changed.
Oh, the spell thing.
Yeah.
When they were trying spells as powers.
Oh, right.
Underneath the stat block as quasi spells, and they just went right back to listing spells, which is fine, especially when you're playing using D&D Beyond, because then you can click the links. But it's kind of a pain when you've got a book and you've got a page to the particular page to find what spells your creature can go with.
Right. So multiple reactions on the Marilith, yeah, which they always had, right?
Interesting thing about the Marilith. The Marilith, it has that multi-reaction that is intent is to use with parrying with all its 6 blades. I've seen people like, I think, Treant Monk talking about that as a potential exploit that high-level characters can use, shape-changing into a Marilith and gaining all those reactions and then spamming shield or whatnot. With all the reactions. I noticed that in some of the other monster books, perhaps in the Tales of the Valiant monster book, they forestalled that by having the Marilith only able to use its extra reactions to parry. But apparently the D&D team is not tuned into those exploits. So a Marilith still can use its reactions for whatever it damn well pleases.
This is really neat looking at the Green Dragon that was previewed versus what got finally released. Another thing we see is Battle Ready. The dragon has advantage on initiative rolls. So it used to be +8, and it was getting that by, had +1 for Dex, Normally get +5 when you take advantage, but this was really matching being proficient with it with the +7 bonus, giving it the +8. But then it had an average roll of 23, which is an 18 plus advantage to get you to 23. So it was like hard to figure out what they were doing there. But 23 is how to get an average of 23. Now they're doing double proficiency bonus rather than giving a proficiency bonus and advantage to the creature's initiative. We also see spellcasting got toned down quite a bit, I think. So the spell DC stayed the same, but they used to be able to do Charm Monster at level 5. I forget if Charm Monster is a level. This is the main problem with these spells. I don't remember what level Charm Monster is. I think it's level 4. So
it
what's
might
level
be
5?
5. I don't know.
Level 5 version would be 2 creatures if it's level 4,
yeah.
but I'd have to look it up.
Yep.
Now, if they still had it, I could look it up right here, just with the D&D Beyond. So that's a nice little feature. But anyway, they had Charm Monster level 5 at will. So they would be charming like the whole party. Plus, one of their legendary actions was charming. They toned that down a lot, which is sad that it completely went away. Maybe Geese and Modified Memory is kind of given somewhat the same thing because, we always think of Seer and Bloodbane and Dragonlance charming the elves.
You're right. It's level 4. So at level 5, it can hit two targets.
Right. So he's hitting 2 at will. Plus, he's doing it with a legendary. The response to the dragon can cast Charm Monster level 5 3 times. So he could cast 4 Charm Monsters around at DC 21 on the saving throw. You charm the whole party instantly.
Yeah, that's a TPK waiting to happen there.
Yeah, that's a good change that they fixed that. That's for sure. Now, their breath weapons, I'm not impressed with. This guy's breath weapon, poison, doing 77 damage. It sounds like a lot, but when you're dealing with 15th level characters, it's not a lot. Most of them will save. Most of them will have resistance. Some of them will have, you don't have Uncanny Dodge with a con save, but you'll see that it won't impact them nearly as much as you think it will.
Yeah, for sure.
That should be like double that damage for them to be afraid of the breath weapon. So that's my input on dragon breath weapons. The green dragon. We see legendary action is based everything. Let's go look at the Marilith. We've been talking about the Marilith a little bit. Let's see here. It is spell return. So the fight in that Sinbad movie with the Marilith. Which Sinbad movie? House Guest. Let's look at the Marilith. So if you're looking for titties, you're not going to find them here. I'm sad to say.
As LIVESTREAMS said, this Marilith definitely needs a skincare regimen.
Here we go. So the Marilith is male as far as you can tell. Let's look at the old one. Pull up the old Marilith here. Demon. Type 5. That's what they used to be, right? Marilith. Okay. Large Fiend. Hit points went up quite a bit. Initiative went way up from +5 to +10. Speed of 40 now is 40 and climb 40. Lots of good saves. Still got lots of good saves. Resist cold fire and lightning, which is pretty much all demons, and immune to poison, which is all demons. No resistance to magic weapons. True sight 120. CR 16. Magic resistance reactive, 1 reaction on every turn of combat. 6 pack blade attacks. I talked a little bit about this. So just a little nuance. They could have reversed the order of these because you're definitely going to want to constrict first and then blade attack with everything with advantage.
Definitely.
I've made this mistake and at a table and like, oh, that was stupid. Where I make all the 6 attacks from the Marilith and then constrict someone. I felt really dumb after making that mistake. I didn't make it again after that, but they could definitely reverse those. Bonus action teleport up to 120. So that's good that they moved their teleport to bonus for that guy. Parry. Yeah. So pretty much the same as before. How's the damage looking? 10 plus 7 necrotic, so 17 versus 13 before, so a little bit more damage.
It's a good boost.
Yeah.
Necessary.
The constriction is doing 15 bludgeoning. Used to do 15 bludgeoning. The escape on the grapple is only a 14. That seems low again. I'm sure it's supposed to be 8 plus 5 is 13 plus 5 more is 18. Someone correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Aren't escapes for fighters 8 plus their proficiency plus their strength?
That would be it. Yeah.
I think that's what it is. They seem really, really low. Is that on purpose? Is it so you don't feel bad that you're grappled the whole time? I don't know. All right, so that's the Marilith. Let's see here. What's a cool one to look at? And also, I want to go through my questions. So we have order of appearance. I don't like it. Initiative shown and proficiency and expertise in initiative for some creatures. So I like how they show initiative, so you know where that's coming from. Frankly, I'd like that they have high-level creatures have high initiatives. Otherwise, they were not ever going first. That's for sure. What do you think about them getting the bonuses on initiative, David?
I like it a lot because I've seen as character levels climb, it seems like monsters start going last all the time. And I'm not quite sure how that happened, but it did.
Oh, no. You know what? The demon lords are all gone, or were there? They weren't in there before, were they? They just had them by name. Okay, good. We didn't lose all the demon lords. I don't think they were in the original Monster Manual. They appeared in other Monster Manuals, though, right? Yeah, they're not there. Okay, I like the Barlgura. Let's look at that one in the new Monster Manual. That art for that thing looks awesome. Barlgura. There's the art now. Looks a lot more demonic. This looks like a Loth Barlgura with the multiple eyes there. I hate to say AI because there was a human artist for this one, but there's some weird little nuances on that guy. I hate it when people claim AI when it's not AI, so I ignore that I said that because I have no idea that it might be or isn't.
For the demon pictures, they really pressed to get artists who were going for that chaotic, horrifying. On the other hand, you'll never convince me that the new Incubus is even evil. There's no menace at all. Maybe that's the terrifying part of it, that there's no menace at all.
Friendly. Oh, that's cool. Marilith should be able to take a constricted creature with them on the teleport. That'd be good.
Oh, that would
Teleport's
be horrifying.
finally a bonus action. This will be so good now. I often use it that way anyway. Yeah, Andrew's written quite a few adventures with Marilith in them. ICK, I never played 5th. All right, Barlgura. So this guy, all the way back to Lost Caverns of Sojkanth, when I first fought one of these things back in the 80s. Initiative, just regular +2. Hit points went up a little bit. Speed's the same. Same resistances. These things have like some weird spells in Lost Caverns of Sojkanth, and they've kept them all the way to now.
Yeah, that's tradition. It doesn't fit with the bestial monkey demon thing, but that's their roots.
Interesting how they reverse the order of the once per day, twice per day spell casting. Disguise self, invisibility, entangle, phantasmal, killer instead of force. Force is second level, killer's level 6 version.
Wow.
It's a good beef up, yeah. And it's leaping as a bonus. I guess it used to be just part of its movement. Reckless, is that gone? I think Reckless is gone for them. It was basically kind of like a barbarian. Get advantage on their attacks, but attacks against them have advantage. I want to look at the basilisk. Well, then I want to look at the bay here after that. That's a good one. Speaking of Lost Caverns of Sojkanth. Okay, so got to go back to basilisk. Basilisk. We just fought one of these ones the other day. We played Tomb of the Dust Queen again. And there's one of those in there. And it was just, save or be turned to stone. It felt, they made both their saves, but it was like a 50-50 chance. I'm like, oh, that's pretty strong. It's going to feel bad. Sorry,
and this
your
one
character's gone.
is only, maybe that's with the Cockatrice. It's only 24 hours turned to stone.
Now? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Oh, let's look at that, yeah. So this one's petrified forever, right? Yeah. DC 12 saves or petrified. And yeah, that's a lot easier to adjudicate for sure. You're not having to verify if anyone is surprised or not. Are you averting your gaze or not? Do players have to play dumb or not play dumb, right? Because any players who played for 5 years know what to avoid looking at.
Mm-hmm. When they see that 8-legged lizard coming.
Right. That's cool artwork on that guy. Okay, let's look at Cockatrice. Colossus. I'm gonna have to look at
I like that they have a sort of dialed up Cockatrice version.
Oh, yeah.
Because, they kind of make cool final monsters at low levels.
They are, yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Okay, take us through the Cockatrice differences.
Well, the one thing I noticed is the 24 hours. Is that a change?
Let's see. Nope, same as before.
Same as before, yeah.
I did not know that was only 24 hours. I would have had you guys fight more Cockatrices.
Yeah, they're not quite so...
not that scary anymore.
Scary, no.
Or weren't that scary before. I was just scared of them for no good reason before.
Yeah, they look like got a little dialed up, a little bit lower hit points, but basically not that different.
And then look at the higher one. Does it petrify permanently? It does. It's CR8.
I seem to remember an adventure. I don't remember if it was a D&D adventure where there was some sort of demon that had a whip made out of cockatrice feathers.
Oh, that's Rob Kuntz's adventure.
Stone.
That's Rob Kuntz's adventure. It's something Mordenkainen's Fantastic Adventure, I think.
Oh yeah,
right?
Like an iron golem with a cockatrice feather whip. That's playing for keeps.
All right. Let's see if I can figure out. Oh, here's how I do a poll. Okay, creating a poll. So, ask a question. Do you miss orcs and drow as separate monsters, or are generics okay?
Yes and no.
It's a yes or no.
Oh, I spoiled it.
I'm going to add another option. No, it's yes or no. Sorry. Got to vote yes or no.
Cyclops.
Cyclops. I definitely miss drow as separate monsters. Orcs don't faze me that much. I mean, but if I'm trying to play old school, if I came from watching Lord of the Rings, I would always come back from watching movies and get out my Dungeon Master's Guide. I mean, my Monster Manual and Player's Handbook. I remember watching The Lone Ranger and wanting to, make Rangers after that. And I remember watching the I think it was 81, 82 Dragon Slayer. Oh, that was a great movie. I remember digging through my Monster Manual after that.
Tom, scroll down to Cyclops real quick.
Okay. Cyclops.
This is one of the monsters that came to mind when I was seeing things that I thought had been upgraded in small but flavorful ways.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Cyclops, both of these creatures have these sort of divination features, and I don't think they had those before.
Nope.
So it used to be they were just giants with bad depth perception.
Yep.
Which wasn't that interesting. And now they've got these divination features, and that makes them so much more fun and interesting and distinct from giants who always miss with their rock throw attacks.
Is that in the lore of the Odyssey when they faced the Cyclops? Did it have any kind of oracle power?
I don't know.
I don't know that I ever read the Odyssey. I read the Iliad, but I don't think I've ever read the Odyssey all the way through. Chat, fill us in.
We need help.
Yeah. Gave up an eye to see the future. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Except they didn't. They're just born with one eye, I think. So that's cool. Little change. Colossus. What's this thing?
That used to be the Waterdeep Colossal. I can't remember exactly what they called them, but in the Waterdeep supplement, they have the Colossuses that defend the city. And that used to be that stat block, maybe with a few changes. I remember that stat block because that's what I used for the Spider Warwalker in my 17th level adventure.
Nice.
I changed some of the abilities and whatnot, but that was the skeleton that I built from.
I've got a quote miniature of one of those behind me over my shoulder there. I don't know if it's too small to see or not. Let me make it bigger here. There we go. He's right over. I don't know if it's my left side or right side on the screen, but in front of the dragon beside the moon.
On the right, as we're seeing it. Sure.
On the right. Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the Colossus. And what's it got? It's got a divine beam. So like we said, they kind of added a ranged option for all these creatures.
Yeah.
Because all these big, beefy creatures, if you could just fly and stay away from them, you're safe. Not anymore.
Nope.
Okay, let's look at a hill giant. Or no, Carion Crawler. I want to see that. Go back. These things would poison you or paralyze you, right? So what do they do now? And let's look at Carion Crawler. They used to paralyze for a minute, and you repeat at the end of your turn. Repeats the save at the end of each of its turns. Okay, so kind of the same. DC went down one notch from a 13 to a 12. And the paralyzing tentacles don't have to hit. They just do it. So you just have to make the save DC 12. He doesn't have to hit you first. A lot of things get changed that way, I noticed. So that's interesting. See how our poll's doing. We're 64% yes. I don't know how long these polls last. We'll find out. Only 64% of you are going to miss having Drow. The Drow, House Matron.
Hey.
The Drow Wizard.
Quit electioneering.
Yep, I am electioneering. Okay, what should we look at next? Let me look at my list of things I wanted to cover. How are lair actions handled? Let's see, what would have lair actions? A dragon. Let's look at a red dragon.
Under R, because
under
when
red,
somebody gets their first D&D Monster Manual and they want to see what a dragon looks like, they're going to look under R.
Yeah, that'd be me looking for Dracula. Can't find him. That's a nice piece of artwork there. Joshua Raphael. Nicely done. Okay, ancient red dragon. Let's look at how this thing compared. Let's look at an adult red dragon. You guys have faced those. 256 hit points. I think that's the same as what they were before. Dragons. red, ancient red, adult red. Okay, here we go. Adult red dragon. 256 the same, armor class the same at 19, initiative plus 12 instead of plus 0. So they're going to go a lot faster earlier in the round. Speeds are all the same. Saves look to be all the same. Con plus 13. Oh, let's see. Con went. Yeah, they lost their con bonus. Adult red dragon had a dex at plus 6, a con at plus 13. Now it's only plus 7. Wisdom at plus 7. Charisma at plus 11. Now it's only plus 6. Interesting. It'd be worth taking a look through the monster manual and seeing if they did that to all creatures where they only have 2 good saves. I wonder if that's a thing.
It seems arbitrary.
It does. Carion Crawler was the first monster I ever fought in D&D back in 2E. Nice. How did it go? Did anyone get pet or paralyzed? A lot of my friends are drow. So I've been playing since we first fought drow in G3, and people have wanted to be drow since then all the time. Always, everyone wanted to play a drow. Now they're just a different variant human, unfortunately. The coolness is gone. Now no one will want to play drow anymore. I bet they still will, actually. 69% yes.
Carion Crawlers used to be terrifying because they got 8 attacks with those paralyzing tentacles.
Are you looking at Monster Manual 1?
We're going old school here.
Nice. Yeah, and spiders were terrifying, right? They just kill you.
Yeah.
You fail your save.
Fail your save, dead.
A lot of things just killed you. That was it. Fail that save, you're dead. And yeah, and then there's a lot of things that would reduce your level. Those were terrifying. And the pain is the DM. If you have some person that their character lose 4 levels, then it's like, well, you could keep adventuring with the party.
You'll catch up fast because of the way the experience points are.
It's true, you did.
Escalating.
Okay, back to the dragons. So saves aren't always good. Immune to fire, good. Blind sight, 60 feet, same. Legendary resistances, 4 in the lair. Multi-attack now. 3 Wrens can replace 1 with Scorching Ray. Versus before, Frightful Presence, 3 attacks, bite, and 2 claws. And the Wrens are doing 13 slashing and 5 fire. For an adult red dragon, 5 fire. It's like not worth the effort of saying it. Before they used to do 19 and 7 fire with their bite. Fire breath is only 59. No, that's not it. Yeah, only 59 fire damage. Used to be 63 fire damage. And I don't know if you remember, Dave, but I did one that you guys took, I think, like 130 fire damage.
That was during your, double damage phase?
No, I was only doing 1.6 times, I think.
1.6 times, yeah. Okay.
Just rolled high that time. And we were doing Oracle of War, the Ebron campaign. And you guys were like 14th, 15th level. And yeah, it hurt. Several of you went down to 0. But you're right back in the fight in no time.
We prevailed.
Yep, you prevailed.
5th edition characters are stunningly robust.
Yeah.
Unless everybody goes down and nobody's there to heal.
So I don't see, sorry, just didn't make it strong enough, D&D. Should have been stronger. They get Fireball, but that's like 28 damage on average. That's horrible.
That's not much. 17.
Right.
CR 17.
Maybe Fireball at level 9 is what they should have. Legendary actions, 3 or 4 in their lair. Commanding presence. It is kind of sad that they all lost their Frightful Presence. You know where Frightful Presence was like demonstrated the best was in the Dragonlance books. Did you ever read those, David?
Just the first one.
The first one? Yeah, Dragons of Autumn Twilight. Their description of the dragon fear, the acid melting everything from the dragon breath or burning everything down to the bones, it was like scary. And that's why, oh man, when Joe Manganiello was going to be doing the Dragonlance live action, but that kind of got canceled because the D&D movie didn't do that great or other reasons, he would have done a great job of that, I think. And if you run that, if you make that series like a Game of Thrones real adult, you could make dragons terrifying, I'm sure. But anyway, they don't have that anymore. Fiery Rays, use spellcast and cast Scorching Ray. Okay, Scorching Ray. What's that? 68 damage? No, 66 damage. Oh boy, that's terrible. Sorry, that's a horrible dragon for CR17. But we were going to look at lairs. Okay, dragon lairs. And it used to be you'd have a lair action, right? That would go at initiative count 20. And I think they, in general, place that with in your lair, you get 3 of your legendary actions.
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of like
4
the same.
legendaries.
Yeah, in your lair you get 4. So it's kind of like the same number of actions as it was, before, but you're just using this list instead of having to go to a lair list that was separate. And the lair list had the weird thing where you could do the same one twice in a row. But then they have their lairs also do other things. Burning heat. The area with 1 mile of the lair is extreme heat. A burning creature object takes an additional D4 fire. Do they cause anything to burn when they breathe on it? That'd be cool if they did, but they don't. I don't think. So that's a neat feature, but nothing they have causes something to burn. Fireball doesn't, I don't think. Wait, flammable objects are burned, but not creatures.
Yeah.
Are burning. Okay. And smoldering haze area within 1 mile of the lair is lightly obscured with ash, and long rests, you might be poisoned for an hour. Okay, so it's kind of neat that they got little minor mechanical effects, and they rolled in the lair action to be right there with the legendaries. So I guess that's kind of the same as it was before, power-wise. Let me look back at the chat here. What's our voting? We're 71% missing the drow and orcs. No one really misses the orcs, but at least 71% misses the drow. Okay, what do we got here? No, you don't. You don't miss, or no, not okay. Question.
Ouch.
I don't know. So like Odin gave up die. Okay. Kroll could see that. Okay. I haven't watched Kroll in forever. That's interesting. Carion Crawler's first monster. Gunslinger. Welcome, Gunslinger. Will you go into the appendices where the drow and orc are supposedly at? I want to know about specifics to them, like drow, matriarchs, priestesses of lost riders, orc I have grumsh. Sorry, none of that's there. There is a cross reference, and they just kind of become generic conversions. So the drow. A drow priestess of Loth is just a fiend cultist now, which is not a terrible it's got some cool powers, but not like drow. And then orc, I have grumsh, is just a cultist fanatic now. I have to confess, I didn't use orcs for a whole lot, so I'm not going to miss them necessarily nearly as much as I miss the drow. But that's just someone's going to write some good stuff for those things, I think, and it'll be out sooner rather than later, I bet. I think LIVESTREAMS already writing stuff for having modifications on creatures that are humanoids of the various different, professions, so they kind of have some nuances of their species that goes with them. That'd be cool. All right, back to what was I looking at? I was looking at lair actions, and now my other question I had was, where did I put it? Okay, we looked at the ghoul. What new monsters are there? We can look at that, and we can look at some of the humanoids that are other types. So let's look at kind of the appendices. So Aarakocra, they became elementals. Yeah, elemental creatures. Now, I think the way they say to think of that is they were humanoids that got kind of, or they're from the prime material plane, and have elemental nuances, not like they're elemental playing creatures that came to the prime material. Anyway, that's the Aarakocra. They're elemental. And I think a lot of things became elemental that had to do with like water or air or stone. Animal Lords new. Think of Gord books, the Cat Lord for that. I don't know what other sources might have Animal Lords, but they're a CR20 creature. Neutral alignment. Legendary, bonus action, shapeshift. That might be kind of cool. Animate objects. Oh, they had a cool thing about, what was it? What did I see that I thought was pretty cool? Was it the armor? I don't see it now. I don't remember what it was. Back to table of contents. Arcanoloth, that's a Yugoloth. Archelon is, I didn't know what that was. That's like a type of prehistoric large turtle.
Oh.
Archhag, we can take a look at Archhag. I didn't mind having male hags. I mean, that's creepy as heck if you've seen some horror movies with weird old men capturing people into the, into the forest or whatever. I don't mind having one more villain like that. Archhag, 333 hit points. Challenge rating 21. A lot of legendary actions. One thing I like about how Drawsteel's doing these legendaries, kind of, the resistances, and to some extent, I think Shadow Dark does this. There's at least some drawback to the creature. Like if you hit him with something, they have to spend some hit points to drop it instead of just dropping it, which feels, nice. I think, a little nicer for the player. These things have this, where is it? You can't kill them unless you have their anathema nearby when you do the damage to them. Yeah. When the hag drops to 0 hit points, it dies only if it is within 30 feet of its anathema, thing the DM chooses as the hag's most hated thing. And then, once they are dead that way, they curse you, and they always know where you are. So they come back after you. So have that remove curse spell handy if you're fighting hags, that's for sure. Back to the list. Back to our vote. Yes, vote is at 71%. Is that done yet? How's this work? I'm ending it now. So not only was I electioneering, but I also fudged the count by ending the count early. So 71 yes, missing the drow, and maybe some orcs. Definitely. I think that was a horrible choice. Oh, another poll. Let's do a poll on, do you like the sword order? I think this will be a big no. Do you like the sword order? Let's see. Great poll. 2024 sorting order. That's good enough. Start it. Cool. All right. Go vote no. These are completely not fair elections. Luke. Cat Lord was in Fiend Folio. Really? Okay, Luke. That's cool. He was also Gord the Rogue. Was also a Cat Lord, I think. The goth guy from Fiend Folio. Okay. Fiend Folio always struck me as, I don't know, it was like the odd man out in the first set of books. I had it, but I hardly ever used it. I think a lot of things came into play in some of the UK adventures, right? I think they made a lot of use of the Fiend Folio for those adventures.
Maybe. They had most of the Fiend Folio creatures were from the Red Dwarf, White Dwarf magazine that was in UK for many years.
Yeah, okay. I did not know that.
They had a column of creatures that were created, and then they compiled those into the Fiend Folio.
So not to rub salt in the wound, but they do have driders. So you have some lore of the, followers of Loth, just not with the drow. Sorry. You do have Driders, though. And they're cool. I like how they did this Magic of the Spider Queen one. Recharge 5 or 6 bonus action, cast Darkness, Fairy Fire, or Web. That's really cool because, and they should do that for Drow when they make, whoever makes Drow. Those things were kind of neat thematically, but except for Fairy Fire, they kind of felt like a loss in the action economy often.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So, but now you do them as a bonus, so you're going to see a lot more of them, and that definitely is flavorful for Driders and Drow in the future. Okay, back to the checklist here. Behir, I want to see Behir. So Behir, their multi-attack is 1 bite and uses constrict. Again, reverse that order because the bite would be better if they're constricted already. So constrict first. Just have to make a save. Go straight to save. There's no attack roll. Did they have attack roll before? I'm sure they did. If I go to Behir before. This art reminds me of, I think, 2nd edition. I forget what art that reminds me of. The art for Lost Caverns of Sojkanth and the redo for it, amazing. Okay. Oh, it looks like the 5th edition Behir. Okay, maybe that's where it came from. 5th edition Behir. About 17, 68, same climb speed's a little faster. No special saves. Immune to lightning. Bite and constrict. Constrict was an attack roll. So now you don't have to make the attack roll. You got a saving throw DC 18. Used to be didn't matter. You didn't get a save. You were just constricted if they hit you. And they have to see you though to constrict you. They didn't have to see you before because there's an attack roll, so they could attack you with disadvantage to constrict you. Damage is 28. It used to be 34, it looks like, bludgeoning and slashing. And the escape from the grapple stayed 16. So is that right math? It's 8 plus 4 is 12. Plus 6 is 18. Still not the right math. Unless it's based on con. Maybe it's based on con and I have that wrong. Chat, tell me what I'm doing wrong.
They might have just started fudging those.
Maybe.
Using the strict math.
Oh, Cat Lord was Monster Manual too. Okay. I wonder if that makes sense that Gary would use something he had created if he was the one who created it for Gord the Rogue. Surprised they didn't make Behir Elemental. That would make more sense than Merfolk or Lizard Folk. I can't believe Lizard Folk are Elemental. Yeah. Oh boy. Okay, Behir. So the damage a little bit less, but you don't have to roll to hit. Saving throw is a little bit harder than it was. Used to be, well, there used to be no save. Lightning Breath is 66 damage. Used to be 66 damage. Same Lightning Breath. Swallow. Let's see how they did, if they did any major difference on Swallow. Behir makes 1 bite attack against a medium or smaller target it's grappling. So it first has to bite you, and then it swallows you and the grapple ends. Now, it's a bonus action, so can it constrict, bite, bonus action, swallow you, 1 large or smaller? So now it can do large, not just medium. So it definitely has to have the grapple going, so it has to hit you with its constrict. It can only have 1 creature swallowed at a time versus I think they used to have more than 1 before. Total cover, you're taking 21 acid, same as before. If it takes 30 damage, same as before. 14 con save or spit you out, same as before. Okay, so mostly the same as before, except it doesn't have to hit you. It's just straight to a dex save if you're grappled. So that'll be rough. Did I show the Pit Fiend or Baylor? Not yet. Let's jump on that. Let's do Baylor. He'll be right in the stat block. Here we go. And then I'll look at Demon Baylor over here. Demons. Types. Baylor. All right. Armor class the same. Hit points a little bit beefed up. Initiative much better, went from +2 to +14. Speed's the same. Here we can test our saving throw idea. So you used to have strength at +14, now it's only +8. Con at +12 stays +12. Wisdom at +9 stays +9. Charisma, yep, it's down to only 2.
Interesting.
Only 2 things it's proficient at for saves. That might be across the board. We'll have to see. Normal resistances for a demon, except for it also has immune to fire. Also immune to some conditions, charm, frighten, and poisoned. So frighten's a new one, charm's a new one from normal demons. Anyway, it explodes when it dies, doing 70. Before it used to do, now it does 62. Some fire, some force, used to be all fire. That's actually a change that hurts the players more, right? Because a lot of players can resist fire. Not many can resist force.
Yep.
And then Fiery Aura. 13 fire damage versus 10 fire damage. And anytime you touch it or hit it before you used to take damage, now it doesn't do that. So that's a loss for it. It gained legendary resistances. That's a big beef up. I wonder what CR they figure we better give everything that CR and above at legendary resistances.
I think it's more of a flavor. This is sort of a solo kind of creature that is going to be the boss or only act alone. And then they want to give that legendary resistances because it's going to be the target of everything that the party's going to throw at it.
Yeah. Good point there, Luke. All these creature type changes make spells like protection from evil and good very different. Does protection from evil work on elementals? I think it does. And now a lot of those former humanoids are elementals. Interesting. Okay, damage. No more magical weapons, so it's probably going to do some force damage with its regular weapons now. +14, same to hit. Damage is 21 slashing and 13 fire, 18 force, and 17 fire. So comparable damage, and now it's doing some force damage. And pull up to 25 feet. Oops, that's its whip. I got them reversed. Used to do 15 slashing, 10 fire, so more damage. And then Lightning Blade used to do 21 force, 20. Ooh, that's pretty good. Longsword is doing 21 and 13, so a lot more damage with Lightning Blade. 1 Flame Whip, 1 Lightning Blade, 2 attacks, 1 with its longsword and 1 with its whip. I like that they changed the names of those things. That's a little bit more flavorful. And then it can teleport as a bonus.
Big change.
It can teleport a willing demon, not just itself. So it can send its lackeys out after you. That's nice. I like it. They get legendary resistance now. PFENG also works on Fae. Oh, okay. Protection from goblins.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, protection from evil is going to be the spell to cast. I wish they made different animal lords instead of just one. Yeah. Well, isn't it like a kind of make it however you want? Or do you mean you'd like to actually have them differentiate it instead of you have to split them up? How they have the forger, the hunter, and the sage. They can be bears, bees, bison, capybara, carp, stingray. Where's stingray at? Praying mantis. They can do a shark. There's a shark. Huh. All right. I thought that would have added archons and gardenels, protection from goblins and elementals. From good and evil. Nice. Nice one, Andrew. Okay. I was kind of going through the list of all the creatures. We're down to bees. Brown bear. Bugbears. Okay, so you have, let's say you're trying to like populate your dungeon. You got your goblins, you got your hobgoblins, you got your bugbears. That's your main humanoids now, but they're all Fae, I think. Let's look at bugbear. I think it's Fae. Bugbear. Yeah, Fae. Bugbear Warriors Fae. How's our vote going here? On the sort order, no. 89%. Yeah. You know what's interesting is that they didn't do a public beta on the Monster Manual. I think if they'd done that, they would have realized real quickly that's not a great idea. The sorting order that they went with. But they might not have seen that in the playtest. Boulet, let's see how Boulet looks. And you got the little baby Boulet. Little cute guy.
Is it huge?
The baby or the Boulet is only large, it looks like. The baby's medium.
It's only large.
It used to only be large before, too.
I don't know. I've got these huge Boulet minis.
I do have huge minis. Yes, I have that, too.
That I'm fond of. I mean, maybe that was a 4th edition thing that they were huge.
Their damages used to be 30 with their bite. They used to do a lot of damage. Now they're making 2 bites instead of just 1 for half of that each bite. Which makes it a little bit more survivable, I think, versus that 1 bite of 30.
You get it a little more evened out, potentially.
I think they ran out of time. I agree, Ryan. I think they did run out of time. 3 should have been huge. Baby Boulet is a smaller caliber. 3.5 and 4, you had the dire Boulet. Okay. The Deadly Leap was pretty complicated before. Now spends 5 feet of movement, jump to a space within 15 feet. I think it's one of our large, smaller creatures. Saving throw instead of... It was a saving throw before. 19 damage versus 28 damage. Prone, half, and push 5 feet straight away from it. Okay, let's go back to the list here. Get to our next humanoid, or now elemental, or fae. Bullywogs. Okay, what does everyone think a bullywog became? David, what's your guess?
Elemental. No, fae. They're fae.
You think they're fae?
Yeah.
Well, if you ever played Wild Beyond the Witchlight, you would guess fae, and you'd be right. They are fae. Bullywogs are fae. So there's that. Go back to these guys. Bullywogs are fae. Casby, I like Casby. They're fun. Commoner. Cultists. They got a lot of versions of Cultists. That's cool. I have to look at 1 or 2 of those. Deer. Dracolich. Dretch. Drider. Druid. Dryad. Were Formorians in the old Monster Manual? That's cool.
Yeah, I think they were.
Giant every creature.
Yes. So
Gnolls became demons, we know, or fiends, we know that.
Fiends,
Goblins became fae, we know that. Grix, I think they were, no, I'm thinking.
Those are aberrations for sure.
Yeah, I'm thinking something else. Grimlocks. Grimlocks became monstrosities. No, aberration. They became aberrations. So the idea there is that anything that kind of got modified became what was modifying it. So gnolls were being modified by demons, they became fiends. Sahagin by devils, they became fiends. Grimlocks, Koatoa, things like that became aberrations because they were being modified by those things. Hobgoblin is fae. Let's look at lizard folk. I'm sure they're elemental. I already know that. Oh, what are Kenku? What do you think Kenku are?
They got to be fae too.
Little bird creatures.
Yeah.
No, I think you're wrong. They are monstrosities.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's surprising.
Yeah. So bird people are monstrosities, but frog people are fae.
Okay.
I think that's some favoritism for someone. I'm not sure which.
I think of monstrosities as combined beast plus mutant.
Mm-hmm. Ryan says, I hear some of the giant animals are celestials. You're right. I think they are. What are troglodytes? Let's find out troglodytes. What's your guess on troglodytes, David?
Wow. Now I've lost
You lost your confidence.
I've lost my confidence. We'll go Fae again, I guess. I always bet on Fae.
Can't be Fae. They gotta be monstrosities.
Monstrosities,
They
probably.
are monstrosities.
Yep, you're right. You're getting
The
the
silver
rules
lining,
here.
Andrew, I guess, is that not even the most experienced players will have any clue what creature type stuff is. Less metagaming. Yep, very good. So let's see here. Where were we? Ogres were always giants, or have been for a while at least. UNT, I think they were always monstrosities.
They used to got to be monstrosities.
Yeah, I think they were monstrosities before even. All the were creatures. Thrycreen are probably monstrosities. Sloths are all grouped together. They're over here flipping off the demons. Look, we're all in a group. Why can't you guys organize up?
It doesn't.
It makes no sense. It's like, what are you guys smoking over there?
Stick with any one scheme in any meaningful way.
It's terrible. Oh my god. Heck, I'm running out of things that used to be humanoids. Jackalware?
Definitely.
Jackalware, I think might have been a lycanthrope before.
Lycanthropes before. And now
they are fiends.
Fiends. All the lycanthropes are fiends.
Oh, really? Even all the werewolves and stuff? Let's
look
at that. Dun, 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 dun. Werewolf. Monstrosity.
Oh. Wow.
You're not allowed to play anymore, David. I'm sorry.
Someday I'll get the hang of this game and kind of figure out how it works, but obviously not today.
No ogres or small giants. Yep, I think they're small giants. Okay, so let's look at all the cultists. If you're going to have humanoids be kind of all grouped together by profession, that's not terrible, right? I just kind of miss the drow, the main thing. But as long as you have a lot of flavor to it, and you have flavor for the different species that you can put on top of it, then it's not terrible.
I liked how that drow high priestess had insect plague and other things that felt drowy. Fiend cultists, none of that stuff.
Yeah, Fiend cultist, followers of Demogorgon, Pazuzu, Iuz, Ariel, Zuctomoy. They got Scorching Ray, Thaumaturgy, Fireball. Doesn't feel very Zuctomoy-y, does it?
No, they need to flavor. If I'm ever running one of these, I'm going to reflavor it with different spells to suit me.
Yeah. I mean, you had you had so much good drowness. You had let's just look at what they had for drow. And look at all the drow monsters that we left behind. Drow Arachnomancer, Drow Inquisitor.
It's still there, Tom. Jeremy Crawford is not coming to your house.
Is that this stuff he can't take away, but not my books behind me. I'm okay with my books behind me.
He's not
Drow Arachnomancer, Drow Mage, Drow Favored Consort, Drow Elite Warrior, Drow Mother Rebellion, Drow Matron Mother. I had you guys fight this thing when you were rescuing Illustrial from Loth before Loth appeared. Look at that, 247 hit points. Blade Barrier Banishment. Yep. Those some good times. Spider-Mancy. Yeah, nice. Okay. What else are we going to look at? Anyone in the chat want to see anything? Let's see how our vote went. 89% do not like the organization. We're going to end that one. What other vote do we need here? I think that's all the things I wanted to vote on. Yep. Okay, if you had an idea for a vote, let me know in the chat. Andrew, it just feels like a half measure. They could have gone all in on the template NPCs, given mini cleric options, species stuff, and other ways to flavor your generics. Yeah, Yeah, I mean, you could do it, right? But when you make orcs and you make drow and Duergar, I think Duergar are also a species, player's species. Those are like the main enemies for whole campaigns, and now you can't touch them, or you gotta use generic sized versions of them. Lost a lot there.
And Duergar, weren't they shaped by mind flayers? So shouldn't technically they have
I
had
don't
that
know.
gateway to being aberrations or
That's a good
something?
question. Good
Uh,
question. Pit Fiend. P for Pit Fiend. I liked your Pit Fiend miniature you showed, David. That was a good mini. I think that was you.
yeah, that was me.
I did like the old school Pit Fiend, Monster Manual 1 Pit Fiend. Pit Fiend. Pit Fiend 2014. Let's see if the saving throw idea holds up again. Okay, Dex was +8, still +8. Con was +13, nope, not anymore. Wisdom was +10, still +10. So they have 2, not 3.
Interesting.
Yeah, try to like level them up with the players. Armor class got better, went up to 21. Hit points went to 337. They can fly the same speed. Same resistances, roughly. Fear Aura had that before. They have legendary resistance. Can you show Pit Fiend? No way to compound your medications. Love the art. There's a lot of good art in here. I mean, with every book, there's a lot of art I don't like and a lot of art I do like. So talking about art, I like this format of the Pit Fiend art, right?
Yeah, that's a fun
Because
looking Pit Fiend.
yeah, because I can make a token out of it. If I right click on it, open an image in a new tab, it's a PNG file, so I can make a token. I can overlap the edges of the token with that guy. Awesome. A lot of art they went for showing them like in what they're doing, and you can't make tokens out of that. So it kind of looks cool, but I lost a lot of versatility that I used to have. So I don't like necessarily the art in the environment, but that may be just me.
Well, what I like about that Pit Fiend in particular is it does look like it's a ruler of hell
Yeah,
and is giving orders, whereas the other one looks sort of bestial and
you're right. Yeah,
doesn't
the
give
one on the
that
right.
same sense. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got legendary resistance. That's a bonus. It's got Hellfire spell casting. The Pit Fiend casts Fireball level 5 twice, requiring no components. Can replace one Fireball with Hold Monster or Wall of Fire. That's interesting. It's a whole different way of doing spells than they have on other creatures. He can do that as an action. It can't be part of his multi-attack, but he's getting 2 Fireballs or a Fireball and a Hold Monster level 7. So now I gotta look up Hold Monster. Luckily I got tooltips here. 5th level, so I can get 3 creatures with it, or Wall of Fire. And level 5 Fireball, it's probably 10d6. Yeah, 10d6. So 2 10d6 Fireballs, or holding 3 of the party at DC 21 on the save. So that's pretty good spell casting. But interesting, that's a whole different way of doing it than others.
And much better at range than the Pit Fiend from 2014, which doesn't look like it has much of anything that it can do from a distance.
Right. Yeah.
I guess it had the at-will fireball. Yeah. So there's that.
All right. Let's look at Poltergeist. That used to just be a version, I think, of a Spectre. So if you looked under the old Monster Manual, Poltergeist. See if it even listed it. 2014. Huh. I thought it was just under the Spectre. But maybe not. Maybe it was separate. Okay, we were going to look at... Well, let's look at Priests while we're... Shoot, too late. I already left. Look at Cultists. Here we go. See, they got all the Cultists together. but they couldn't put all the demons together. I like that art. That's cool. Who's coming through that? That's Orcus, I think. That's
Looks like Orcus, yeah.
Yeah. That's really a cool piece
Even
of
got
art.
the wand of Orcus. Nice.
Yeah. Let's go full screen on that. That's really cool. Did you ever play Bloodstone Mines, or maybe it might have been the one after Bloodstone Mines, where the enemies are summoning Orcus and you have to stop him from coming out of the Mercury pool?
No, haven't done
That was
that
fun.
one.
That was a fun adventure. Close that. Okay, so cult members, cultists, your standard cultist, cult fanatic. Then these are all new after that. Hierophant, CR10, nice. Aberrant cultist, CR8. And Dark Vision 90 feet. Death cultist, CR8. Elemental cultist, all CR8s. And Fiend cultist, got Dark Vision 90 feet. So I started playing Shadow Dark. Close your ears, Andrew. You don't want to hear this. Started playing Shadow Dark. And the thing I loved about it was no dark vision, right? I thought it really, really upped the feel of the game, made it much more fun. And D&D 2024 said, fuck you. Everyone's got 120-foot dark vision. I'm like, what the hell? Orcs even have 120-foot dark vision. It's crazy. Okay, yeah, so a lot of different cultists to pick from. Fiendish, Elemental, Death, Aberrant. I guess Loth would be Fiendish.
That's what they said.
Yeah. Not very Lothy. Okay, so that's them. Let's look at Hill Giant. I want to look at Hill Giant. Happy to see Andrew. Ryan. Happy to see Priest. Yeah. Yes, Orcus. Yeah. Andrew. Unless they're NPC orcs or Drow or Duergar. Wait, sorry, record was on repeat. Where was I? Hill Giant under H. Hill Giant. There we go. Oh, I want to look at Rock too. So Hill Giants, they have Trash Lob. Instead of throwing a rock, they throw trash. Does bludgeoning damage, and the target has a poison condition until the end of its next turn. So it's kind of fun, but evidently they walk around with a lot of trash.
Okay, they're going with a certain flavor for Hill Giants.
Yeah, I loved. I posted something from Dungeon Magazine 197, where they redid the Hill Giant adventure, Seeding the Hill Giant Chief, and they had a room there with some cooks, and the cooks could throw like barrels of food at you, and some had like flour, and some had honey, and they all did different things. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, that sounds like a riot.
It was cool. They could take like the fireplace and just spread the whole thing out like a cone of flame too. Like, put their frying pan in there and throw the coals all at you. It was pretty neat. Okay, so Hill Giants versus the old Hill Giant. Let's see what the old Hill Giant had. Let me know, chat, if you want to see anything else while we're here, because we're getting ready to wrap up here. I like how Tales of the Valiant removed dark vision from orcs and elves in favor of dim light. Nice.
Good change.
Nice. I can suddenly think of many real-life applications for Hill Giants. Interesting use of flavor there, DM David.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that old Hill Giant. Poor guy. Although you could arguably say he was more handsome than these Hill Giants, maybe. 105 hit points, same. Armor class 13, the same. Speed, the same. They didn't do much. 2 attacks using Tree Club or Trash Lob in any combo. So that's new. They could only throw 1 rock before. The Trash Lob is the same as the rock, basically. Does the same, slightly less damage, but also adds poison. So they used to do 21 damage versus 18 or 16. And their hit is 18 damage. And now they just knock you prone. Ouch. That's harsh. Not a huge fan of the attacks that just do something to you with no save like that. Wolves are that way too now. Wolves just knock you prone if they hit you. I do like this art. That art for the hobgoblins is really cool. Really makes them look martial and organized like the first edition hobgoblins.
It fits.
Yep. Fae, lawful evil Fae, because if you're Fae, you can be lawful evil, but not have humanoid. You know, I hate to harp on it, but you keep them humanoid, then you can have them be different in different worlds, like they are in Eberron, right? In Eberron, they were like the first civilization, and they're not lawful evil, I don't think, in Eberron. Oh, and don't even talk about halflings in Dark Sun, because that gets bad. Hobgoblin Warlord, Homunculus, Hookor. Oh, that's great artwork for that Hookor. There's some really good artwork in here. There's some stuff I don't like that much, but there's some that's like, wow, that's good. All right, I think I'm about ready to wrap it up. What do you say, Dave? Any last words?
We covered all that I had written out.
I mean, overall, I think it's a fine monster manual. It's different than before. There's some things I don't like. There's some things I do like. I think it do the job. If you're like coming to the game fresh and you need a book to help you put monsters into a dungeon, I think it's going to do the job. I think a huge add to it, like Andrew said, would be to have that flavor that you can put onto creatures that are the generic humanoid creatures like commoners or priests or knights or whatever. And got a good book.
Yeah, mostly when we're doing the AB comparisons, I think they've each one is improved in small, subtle ways.
Yeah, and they've gotten subtly slightly simpler too.
Yeah.
Usually they haven't gotten more complex. They've gotten simpler and better at what they should do. So I think overall, an improvement.
Agreed.
Not without my reservations, but still an improvement. All right. Well, thanks you, chat. Oh, wait, here we go. One last request. Is the Elemental Cataclysm a Hydra? Doesn't look like a big boost to monster damage offset. Oh, no, Luke, I think you're right. The monster damage output is a little better, but I need, when I run games with my group, and a lot of groups are like this, where they've been together for a while, they can take on a lot more than what's in the monster manual, to the tune of like 1.5 times more, 2 times more, and still do just fine. This did not increase the threat of the monsters by double, for sure. Nowhere near that. But at the same time, you got to think about, they can't make the default tough enough for the best players to face. They have to make the default tough enough for the normal players that are just starting to face, I think. Otherwise, no one would keep playing if they just got TPK'd all the time. So I don't fault them necessarily for them to be on the low side. They just need to admit that, right? And say, hey, once your players get better, you're going to need to beef these things up and do more and more and more damage to keep it entertaining. And that's just how it is. And if they admit that, then they'd have less people angry at them. Andrew, yeah, we'll see you at Winter Fantasy. I'm already getting notes from my flight that expect delays due to winter weather, so we'll see how that goes.
No.
Yeah, I might have to catch a ride with you from Chicago, David. All right. That's it. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the stream. See you next time.